Hi, and welcome to this week's Mortgage Broker broadcast. This week's podcast is all about accountability. And the reason why I wanted to pick up accountability, particularly we're in what now, mid February, we are sort of 6, 7 weeks into the year so far. And it's just really good time to talk about accountability because once we're sort of 6, 7 weeks in to the new year, we're not going to talk about resolutions, we're not going to talk about habits, particularly in this podcast. But what I wanted to do is pick up on accountability, purely because it's at this time of year, this sort of 6, 7 weeks in, where accountability certainly comes into its own with regards to your goals, actions, and what you're wanting to achieve in the year, because we are 6, 7 weeks in. What's that, 10, 15% into the year so far? And really, how has it gone for you so far in 2024? And are you taking action? Are you holding yourself accountable? What about those habits we talked about in the past? And I really wanted to sort of drill down quite a lot in terms of accountability. What is accountability? And really the power of accountability when you are a self-employed mortgage broker or business owner. And this is really geared to self-employed people with regards to accountability, because to be when you are self-employed, accountability is key to success. It really is a fundamental pillar of success for anybody that is self-employed. So I really wanted to pick up on a solo podcast, solo episode this week, all around accountability. And yeah, that's what I'm going to pick up. So, but first of all, here's Leigh with his normal, regular mortgage broker bulletin.
Thank you, Craig, and welcome to the third episode of the Mortgage Broker Bulletin. Just a quick one, Craig. Brilliant post about giving blood the other day. Fantastic to raise awareness of it. On to the bulletin. A couple of lenders put their rates up this week without 24 hours notice. It's not very good for relationships, is it? Which brings me nicely on to the topic of today's bulletin, relationship management. Now, we have relationships with our clients, with our BDMs, insurance providers, even Check My File, the lenders, estate agents, solicitors. And what we need to realize is that they're all built on sort of trust, integrity, and adding value to each other. And if we sit down with these people, create the trust and the integrity, then we come down to actually thrash out the numbers, and we're in a different position to them, and then we try and force them into that relationship with those numbers, it's never ever going to work. So we've got to be aware of where each person is within their journey of business development, and then review after 6 to 9 months. Let's all help each other out a little bit. Let's not put off other aspiring businesses by asking for too much up front. Good business relationships work mutually. They're mutually beneficial, and in the end, hopefully, everybody's happy and everybody can make some money. That's it from me. Onwards, upwards, and forwards. Build those relationships, and I'll speak to you next week.
Thanks for that, Leigh, and some great points on there with regards to relationships. So thanks for taking the time again this week to deliver the Mortgage Broker Bulletin. So, as I said before, this week's podcast is all about accountability, and doesn't matter whether you are a mortgage broker or business owner. Is really aimed at self-employed people with regards to accountability. Doesn't matter whether you are part of a firm or own your own firm. We're going to talk about accountability and why really accountability is important, because being sort of a self-employed mortgage broker, it does offer like incredible benefits in terms of obviously freedom, flexibility, but it also comes with its challenges as well. And one of those big challenges, probably one of the most critical ones, if not the biggest one, is accountability when you are self-employed. Because when you're your own boss, like I said, whether you are self-employed in a firm or owning your own firm, it's easy to fall into the trap of procrastination with regards to being self-employed, and also as well losing sight of your goals. And mid-February is that sort of critical time, really, in terms of we're halfway through quarter 1. And so, yeah, that's why I wanted to pick it up. And with regards to accountability, having accountability can be a real game changer for your success as a self-employed mortgage broker. And that's what I wanted to pick up. So we're really going to get into detail about that, looking at various points around accountability, what is accountability benefits, various other things as well. But just so we're sort of clear, first of all, with regards to accountability as part of the podcast, accountability is taking responsibility for yourself, taking responsibility for your actions, your commitments, and your results. That's what accountability is about. It's holding yourself answerable to all your goals and your promises and the achievements that you're wanting to achieve. So when you are self-employed, there's no one out there. In the past, if you was employed, accountability, you could have accountability at line manager or to the firm owner, however that may look. And there's a lot of accountability guised under the micromanagement banner, which is, we're not going to talk about micromanagement and the difference on this podcast. However, when you are employed, you've got that micromanagement there, which is some form of accountability. However, when you are self-employed, no one at all is holding you accountable but yourself. And that's key to, first of all, you need to understand that's where the accountability comes in, is down to you. And so without this accountability, then you will and you can easily get off track with what you want to achieve. There is less motivation there, and ultimately you are not going to, less likely to achieve your full potential. And that's important when you are self-employed in terms of moving forward and growth and progression, is making sure that you're achieving your full potential, which is important. So that's what accountability is. In terms of what are the benefits of being with regards to accountability, is that with regards to accountability, the one thing it does is it keeps you focused on your goals. So if you have set those goals for the year, you've got the business plans, you've got your goals and your actions. If you're not reviewing, which is part of accountability, which I've talked about on podcasts before, and about habits as well. But like I say, if you are not doing that, then because you've got no one to answer to, you're not focused on those, you're less likely to focus on your goals. But when you know that you have someone to answer to, whether that's a mentor, a coach, or even just yourself in terms of holding yourself accountable, then you're more likely to stay on track. You're more likely to commit to those achievements and achieve, excuse me, and then achieve those objectives. You're more likely to do that when you're holding yourself accountable, or you're working with somebody that is going to holding you accountable. So, and like this focus is really critical to overcoming distractions, which I've talked about in the past. It will help you stay away from those distractions, and also the challenges that often come with being self-employed, because there are, as we've talked about, there are loads of distractions, loads of challenges with regards to being self-employed. And those challenges can hit you very early. You can, if you look at moving from employed to self-employed, then the challenges you face and the distractions you face will be there from day one. So it's how quickly you can overcome those. So, but yeah, the benefits of having accountability is that you will stay on track and you're more likely to hit your goals. Also, as well, accountability can help you stay on track with regards to your working habits as well. We talked about a lot about habits in 2024 on the podcast so far. And if you've not listened to the previous episodes with Leigh at the start of the year, when we talked a lot about habits, we had 4 episodes all around habits. So I'm not going to talk about those right now. But that is also as well with regards to having somebody that holds you accountable. You're more likely to stick to your schedule. You're more likely to stick to that structure, the routine, all those things we've talked about with regards to habit. You're more likely to meet your deadlines as well. You will not kick things down the road when you have accountability. So I say you're not gonna, and also as well, procrastination is a long word anyway, but procrastination is a big deal for a self-employed mortgage broker and for a business owner as well. So again, when you do have accountability, that stops the procrastination as well. And it's a sort of real sort of having accountability is a real discipline for staying productive and making progress. Naturally, as human beings, naturally as brokers, we want to feel that we're moving forward. So our goals will always be growth, whatever that looks like. as I've talked about, is your goal, your growth, whatever that looks like to you, is what you're wanting to achieve. Run your own race. That's what that talks about. So, but having accountability will make sure that you are growing, you are moving things forward, you are steadily, whatever the pace is your pace. Whatever growth looks like to you is your growth. However, accountability will help you grow, will help you move forward, will stop that procrastination, will stop that drift. What I talk about, where you're not taking action, you just drift in day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. That will stop all that. The other thing as well with regards to accountability is that it provides you with valuable feedback as well and guidance. So when you have somebody holding you accountable, they can offer insights into what's got you going on. They'll offer constructive criticism. They'll give you sort of quality feedback in order to help you improve. So you have got somebody that is holding you accountable. It's important as well that they do offer you that feedback, offer you that support, and are able to give you that in a constructive way. Constructive criticism is quite a strong word. However, that's what needs to be there, is a constructive to help you improve. Having somebody that's there holding yourself accountable, or having somebody that you work with that holding you accountable, is then will help you improve, will give you that feedback and helping you grow, helping you progress. And you're more likely to see this mortgage broker business as a long-term objective if you are progressively moving forward, and having somebody to work with or holding yourself accountable will help you move your business forward. Absolutely. And so coming on to that point with regards to podcasts is that if you don't have somebody accountable, if you don't have somebody that's there to hold you accountable and you are self-employed, what do you do in that instance? What do you do if you don't have somebody that does hold you accountable? And in that case, you can sort of create your own system, shall we say, of accountability. You can have sort of this include this could sort of be having yourself clear goals, making sure you are tracking your progression with regards to those goals on a regular basis, making sure you're reviewing those goals. By reviewing, that is holding yourself accountable. And so you can do this yourself. You can have regular check-ins with yourself. Journaling helps as well with regards to your regular check-in sessions, and really to evaluate your performance. As long as you are, as what I talked about before, is giving yourself sort of constructive criticism, giving yourself feedback. It's okay reviewing, reflecting, check-ins, but then you don't do anything with those, then there's just no point doing that. So again, it's having that self-accountability can work. If that works for you, then that's good. And you do feel as though you're progressing and moving forward with your self-accountability, that is fine. One other way of doing things is you could have a sort of support network of accountability. So things like friends, family, or sort of other business owners that you might know, or mortgage brokers that you know, that can sort of provide you with that kind of environment and that kind of world where you feel as though you can be held accountable to them and you feel like you're motivated to them. The thing is with, they say, with those kind of partnerships, shall we say, because you could hold each other accountable, that's something that could work with regards to holding yourself accountable. That can be massively beneficial as well. The question I ask, and this is something that people that work with me and I hold them accountable from a coaching point of view, from a mentoring point of view. One of the big things that the reason why they work with me, and they've tried the friends and the family route, it does work for some people. However, if you do look at that option, the person that you're working with in holding you accountable, do they really get the industry? Do they really get what you're trying to achieve? Do they really understand that? And so some people might not want to have that burden, the relationships with regards to family and friends, to have that accountability there. Some people might not want that. Some people will. Some people might not want that. So again, that's something to be aware of. But the big thing is do they actually get it? Because if you're having to spend most of the time when they're holding you accountable of the reasons why and not understanding the industry, then that can be a sort of challenge as well. But and again, do they really understand the challenges that you face as a mortgage broker and as a business owner if you were looking at friends and family to hold you accountable? I say you can do that. It's just making sure you've got the right person that gives you that constructive criticism. And it's whether you can take that as well from a member of the family or a friend, and do you want to sort of muddy the waters of that relationship with regards to accountability? Just something that I've seen work, and I've seen something that's not worked in the past with regards to friends and family. But it is an option. That is something that is there. The other option with regards to accountability is using technology. There are plenty of apps out there, tools out there that will help you stay on track with your goals, manage your time, and help you stay focused on what your priority is this week, this month. So again, with that, there is technology out there as well. There's project management apps, there's like habit tracking tools, things you can use, or even just a simple task in a calendar or to-do list or things like that. It again will help you, can hold you accountable. So I think through all this is looking at whether you're working on a one-to-one basis with a mentor or a coach, whether you are doing it yourself, whether you're working with family or friends, whether you are, like I said, doing it yourself with regards to using technology, embracing technology to that, whatever you're using, find out what works best for you and make it part of your routine and your structure. That is the important thing. But I think that's, again, going back to running your own race. Some people can hold themselves accountable. Some people want to work with family or friends. Some people use it, embrace technology. Some people work on a one-to-one basis with a mentor and coach. Find out what works right, what works for you, and use that to use that platform, use that avenue, use that path to make sure that you are being held accountable. I think that's the important bit. But just find something that's right for you. And if it's not working, don't be afraid to change it. If it's something that's not working, you don't feel as though you're getting the benefit out of accountability, and you continue to drift, not taking action, and you are not holding yourself accountable, then again, it's making sure that you're growing. Because the thing is with all this, with regards to accountability, it's not about perfection. You are never going to achieve perfection with regards to accountability. You will always be growing. You will always be moving forward. You will always be progressing. And that's the thing with it, with accountability, is making sure that you are progressing. As I said before, you are growing, which is important with regards to accountability. And accepting that it's okay sometimes to stumble. It's okay to fall. It's okay to not achieve what you set out to achieve. Not all the time, but on the odd occasion when that happens, again, it's learning from those mistakes, learning from those falls, learning from those stumbles, because you might find that you try and think of how you're going to do that rather than just focus on the way that you're doing now, whether it's self or mentoring or coaching or group or where, however that looks. But what the key thing through all this is that accountability has to be part of your daily, weekly, monthly routine as a mortgage broker, as a business owner. You need to stay committed to that, because by staying committed to accountability will help you stay committed to your visions, to your goals, to plans, to achievements, both short term and long term as well, which is sort of important, because holding yourself accountable along the way will make sure that you achieve, or more likely to achieve, what you wanted to achieve. And being a self-employed broker, going back to it, like I said, it's easy to drift, because in employed, you micromanage, you're held accountable. If that, it's not really accountable, but that's that you are being held accountable by the micromanagement. That's gone. Now you're self-employed. So it's understanding that. So then what does accountability mean to you? And how are you going to achieve that accountability? Because you are far more likely to achieve what you're wanting to achieve, short term and long term, if you're being held accountable. So the key thing from this for me is that if you are self-employed as a mortgage broker, as a business owner, the challenges for you is to embrace accountability. And I think if you are embracing accountability right now, then great, you will see the benefits of it and you'll understand the benefits of it. If you are not embracing accountability right now, look at something that's going to work for you, but embrace accountability, because it really will help you achieve your goals as a mortgage broker and as a business owner, because it's all about self-discipline and achieving what you're wanting to achieve. So yeah, accountability, that is accountability in a podcast that's gone on for 18 minutes or so. Quite a long solo podcast, that one for me, but I think it's important to get across the key points with regards to accountability. I'm very proactive in terms of accountability. I'm very pro accountability. I think it's an important part of daily, weekly, monthly structure and routine with regards to accountability. I talk a lot about that because, like I say, it has got massive powers to help you achieve what you're wanting to achieve. Get away from the distractions, stop procrastinating, and get on with it and achieve what you wanted to do. Achieve what you need to do when you set out being self-employed or as a business owner. So yeah, that's accountability. Thank you to everyone that's listened. Any questions, comments, please leave them on the platform that you listen to or watch this podcast on. Any of the topics you want to pick up, then please leave them in those comments as well. Thanks again to Leigh for the Mortgage Broker Bulletin this week. Next week, we've got David Coleman from Positive Lending onto the podcast, talking about his kind of world and that market for 2024. Last week was Mark Grant on about the commercial market and that lending space in 2024. So have a listen to that if you've not listened to that already. And before that was obviously what I talked about earlier was with regards to Leigh's podcasts with me about habits and habit changing. So thank you for listening. And as always, don't forget to run your own race.